What is going on, everybody? John out here with you. It has been a while since we made one of these videos, but still trucking along on the NHL Gen. Again, this is NHL 25. If it feels similar from NHL 14, well, you guessed it. It's still the same thing from EA. So this is a long form video. Again, when you see a lot of these, that just means I hit over 100 clips in the highlights and share factory. So you put those into one and then you re-upload it and put everything else in. So this is just under a half hour. This will give you the full synopsis of the season one for Nick and myself, as well as let you know exactly what you're getting into. If you're playing NHL 25, if you're trying to get it early for Christmas and get that sale or whatever else, the game's cheap enough now. It's probably 20 bucks. So if you want to go ahead and take the plunge and feel the pain and misery, you can do so. So I'll be honest with you, in the first season, Nick and I had gone, and again, you'll see all those screenshots at the end, and again, I had the time for the center build-up if you want to go all the way to the end, don't want to watch these highlights. Played about 60 games in Season 1, maybe if that. That's probably including the playoff run as well, and we were roughly minus 15 to 18, a team that was like struggling around 500, right? So nothing completely awful, but just mediocre. And as it stands, as you know how it goes, it's 2's, right? And over the last couple of years, it's best of 7. You have to win 16 games to win the Stanley Cup, as you normally would. We got to game 16 and lost. That's the way it goes. However, there was a lot of things learned in this thing of 2's, and no blame for either one of us. Again, I could score some more goals and this and that. Nick's been carrying. That's the way it goes too. But there's a lot of things to learn if you're going to play 2's. Now, some of this information I'm going to give to you is going to be completely dissatisfactory for those that are 3, 4s, and 5s, or if you just play 3's, because normally a lot of you guys, you started as 2 because the computer was better and all of that, right? So now it's not. You can go into the pause menu and see it any time when you're playing EA Sports Hockey League, and your bots are 48 overall. They might have a little bit of stat in one way, but I couldn't tell you which way or the other. They are newborn baby-like. They do nothing for themselves, and it is completely frustrating. There are things that you can do under the club strategies under your club members and try to change it, make them aggressive. Again, if you do it that way, that's probably what you should do, but you also need to remember that one of you is going to have to be back at all times, but you also need the other person to consistently score and create offense. So if Nick's going to take that role and run sniper, then I need to run a two-way forward at center when the draws and kind of do all my business, get him set up, get some chances, and then when I get up there, I also have to be able to make sure that I can run offense, because if I'm completely anemic with just the two of us, it's up to the bot that does nothing, or it's just Nick's show. And that can't happen. That's really frustrating if you have one partner doing everything and you're not doing anything to help him. It doesn't work. But that's the way NHL 25 is. Again, as I talked about over the last few years, from 21 to 25, it's breakaway centered or cross pass. And it's even more so now, except the fact that the breakaway is probably the play that you see 9 out of 10 times. You will not see that in these highlights as much because nobody wants to watch all of that. You're going to see our defensive plays like this one here, which was absolutely incredible early on throughout. And then you're going to see a mix of goals all the way across because you got to keep people entertained. But note that you're going to have a player that is going to be predominantly quick. And if you have one that's just a score, it's just going to be all offense, maybe not as much a shot, but speed, agility, acceleration, just be able to get those blow-bys. Because, again, the computer's helpless and they'll get blown right by. If you get a step out in front, that's why you need to be able to rotate. Doesn't mean you have to use a defenseman, but you got to be able to be smart. So how does this game work in comparison to the other? Again, predicated cross-pass, blow-bys, you got all that down. And if you're used to it and you accept it for what it is, I can't say that you'll have fun, but you will get used to the game and you will start kicking some butt, honestly. You'll start beating up on some of these teams. There'll be times, if you don't have builds that have any sort of defense on it, you can poke check to the moon comes home. You can hip check. Those are still overpowered. The shoulder checks with circle and square now over the last couple. You can just plow right into people, get no penalties, as long as the puck is somewhat near, and I think you get a 5-second buffer. You won't take a penalty. If you ever hip check with anyone near you, you'll never take a penalty. So that's some of the frustrating things you got to get away from as a 2. But that's how the game is played. So if you have a player that doesn't have a lot of defense, you can poke check. Like I said, the cows come home and it's not going to work, can't get the puck. So have to be mindful of that. So from what you're seeing is OG up to patch 1.31. That EA Iujo, the community manager that's been there for years. I know, much maligned community manager. Again, nothing's going to get me banned on the EA side because I never see any of these videos and try to be as honest as I can. This was dubbed the emergency patch because the feature a couple of years ago, holding R2, and then that brings up the face buttons that you can use to pass that you're seeing right there. That was taken out because the game would loop and crash, or the games wouldn't count. That was one of the features that was in the game 2 years ago, and it was out for roughly 3.5 weeks. Couldn't even play the game because when you try to pass, and again, it's predicated on your rating too, and again, people can say no shit on that regard, but still, if you want to make a pass to someone that's even near you, it could sail from 150 feet. Doesn't really work out well. You need to have that passing there. It was put in there to fix this game that's still running on PS4 and Xbox One engine that badly needs a facelift. So that was put in there to try to make the passing easier. It does. Again, as far as the breakouts or being able to go backwards and kind of loop around, be able to get something quick to get those easier breakouts. You don't have to hold and aim. You still need to use skill, and you have to use it the right way, but it does make it a little bit easier to get open if you know what you're doing. And when you can't use it for about 3.5 weeks, it really does make the game useless, especially when you're only playing as 2s. So how do the builds work, and what was my experience throughout this game? Well, again, for me, I'll say this predominantly as center. Your responsibilities are as followed. Win 75% of the draws. Again, everybody can have up to a 90 now, so it's going to be tough, but you got to be very competent in the circle. You got to be able to be the last man back. When you do get into the offense, you got to make sure you don't burn all your stamina meter and the green meter below. Be able to run offense and score shots when they're dropped to you. You got to get takeaways and interception and get this up to your forward or whoever's going to play, and vice versa. And you also need to rotate, as you're seeing on here, and then score. You have to be able to do everything. That's not to say Nick doesn't have pressure on himself, because he's got a lot of pressure to score goals and get those backhands and get breaks. But your forwards, if you're going to play in a small club, are predominantly supposed to be your scorers. That doesn't mean he doesn't rotate and do all that. We're good. We've played for so many years. You have to. But that is your responsibility as center. And if you're a forward, maybe you go with the 94 speed instead of the 93 like I'm using. Bump it up a little bit, try to get a little extra breaks, and get the right shots. You can still make nice plays, just like that one on the two-way forward. So that was my predominant as a center, and in our first season, I tried to use the truculence that everybody used over the last few years. I adapted to the buttons, being able to use square or circle to throw out hip checks, where you kind of throw out the ass end to take the puck away. It's really annoying, but everybody else does it. If you can line it up on the blue line side, get in the right area, you can pry the puck loose when the poke check just refuses to work. But that's why you like the two-way side, because you have a good poke check. I don't care about the hitting. You just need to make contact, and everything else will fall into place. What I did like was the playmaker over the last couple. You should know that already with the high passing and the offensive awareness. It's not really about the deking so much anymore, being able to get that up there. Dangler is fun when you can get the moves just to be able to get what you need to get open. I'm not talking about doing any more than that. It's good to have a set of hands for there. But the boosts on the two-way side and the mix of the quick pick, no contest, those might work to get the puck every once in a while, but you'll notice when you set it up that way, you have no offense. You'll see it toward the end after these highlights that I just didn't have. Still shot about 10.5%, about 11. It's where I usually kind of roam around there. That was the same. I had significantly less shots, but I just wasn't a factor offensively because you only have 82 wrist shot accuracy because you need to have a little bit of balance. You got
Oh
to
my
have
God,
speed. You're
what a
going to be stuck
goal.
being a little bit heavier because you're a two-way forward, maybe a little bit taller. That's the way it is. Your minimum is 5'9", 175. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it gives you a little bit less stats across the board for those smaller forwards that have a little bit less weight. So you got to be able to balance that out. What season 1 and season 2 differed in was you have your 5 categories, as we always talk about, between your power, technique, play style, all the other things like that. The same 5 boxes that you've had from NHL 21. Now they've added an extra 80 points in every box of those 5 boxes, respectively, to add points. It's not a game changer by any means, but it might allow you to get a couple extra points in a category like puck control that really matters. So keep that in mind. Again, you're watching all of this in between all of the jersey combinations. Glitches, one of them that is gone, thankfully, and you've seen probably throughout all these. And the talking points that I have had to have a bunch of different jerseys. You have your home, away, and alternate per usual. But every single patch up to the last couple, and that's over the last 2.5 weeks, every time you make it, it resets your jerseys
Oh
to
my God.
nothing, and you have to do them over again. Some people will bitch and say, "What are you complaining about? You'll figure it out. You do it over and over again, and all of a sudden it becomes routine." Shouldn't have to happen, but that's EA oversight for you. Thankfully, all that stuff will be fixed. But again, when you start a new club or do anything else, especially with a new patch, if you want to get things going in a new season, it's probably a good way to start just so you can reset your stats and look to see what you're doing in the next month. Not to make yourself look good, but to see if your player builds and play styles are working and you're improving. Novel idea, as I've always talked about, for each season. I'm not saying reset your total stats to 0. You keep your career stats, but just reset your season stats or have a little separate slider for each month to see how much you improve. So you don't have to even worry about that. That'd be cool. Or you could start from the 10th division and work to one every single month. That would be kind of interesting if you're going to change it that way. Change it up a little bit. So the glitches, as far as everything else, the stamina degradation and all of that, that has been changed a little bit. Now this is EASHL, but you'll notice sometimes when you're shooting, that was a disgusting goal by Nick, that when you're shooting, you will get a green circle underneath you. Those are timed one-timers. If you're playing across Europe and Canada and you have lag, you cannot time your shots, so it makes it completely unplayable there. They had to tone it down for those that play online versus or hut
Oh my
champs or any of those
God.
other pay to win modes, because every time you got a timed one timer, it would go in the back of the net after a green flash. So that isn't as predominant, I notice, especially for clubs of 3 and 4. But it is what it is. They've patched that down. So if you plan on it a lot, just expect teams to camp into the slot,
Let's go.
block your shot, and move up the ice. Something that I really have to talk about, and this is probably where I shouldn't have buried the lead, but we still got plenty of time, is where to go from here, what to do in these strategies, and how this game is so broken. If you're a club like we are and you play 2's, again, that was the predominant backbone between NHL 10 to 14, which was the glory days. And then once it went to PS4, it was complete garbage, right? But you always had at least one thing for NHL in comparison to other sports games. In 2K, you're forced to play with the full 5 if you're going to run rec. But at least in NHL, you could always have the option to play 2's in your small club. Where the hell did that go in NHL 25? Yes, you're right. There is no match my club size. And I don't know if there ever is going to be a match my club size. Ujo, the community manager, could surprise us by the time we get into the new year in 2025 in January and say, hey, we effed up and we're putting this back in the game. Why was it ever taken out in the first place? Oh, to try to match up with people's CR and get more competitive matchups. All that fucking does, and again, I hate to swear, but I really have to drive this point home. All that does is make you play the same teams over and over and over again, because that's what you're going to be doing. You're also going to be sitting in the lobby for, let me average it out roughly, 4.5 minutes at a time, maybe 5 minutes if you're trying to brute force yourself into a 2, because most teams, again, we stopped doing this in season 2 because we just said F it at this point. We don't want to wait anymore, especially on the weekdays when Nick doesn't have a lot of time to play. You got to get games in. We're going to have to play against 3s and 4s. If you have garbage player builds or you're not ready to play at about 150% of your ability, it doesn't always take that, but you will be at a significant disadvantage with the 48 overall bots, as we mentioned. You're going to be sitting about 5.5 minutes waiting for a game, and most of the time when you get your game, you're going to do it against a team that is 3, 4, 5, 6. You're never going to get your 2's matchup because you don't have match my club size. When the playoffs hit, you have the limited window when it's open 6 or 7 days, and you better be on them during those times, and you better be waiting for hours if you're going to try to get a 2, because your playoff games are limited. You only get a chance to lose so many times before you got to start all over. If you even do a retry, you might not even finish it in the window. And you're going to be constantly playing against more players than you that have a way better advantage because the bots are just that bad. So welcome to NHL 25. That's what you got to deal with. Those are the biggest ones I want to have to hit off the top of my head. You guys let me know if you have any other ones. I will join back in with you in about 10 minutes or so. Enjoy these highlights.
The Red Wings looking against the half wall. Musical lead. Denies him in front.
Oh, what a pass.
On the man advantage. Put one home. Oh, he targeted his opponent and delivers a perfect hip check. Oh, look at this. Breakaway.
Almost looked like he left his feet early, but nonetheless, it's a bone crusher.
Breakaway.
Yes.
Great reach with the stick by Hernandez. And now he tries to get it across to all alone. Moves it to Jackson.
It doesn't work here.
Now a quick, they've got an on-man rush.
It doesn't work here.
Sends it across.
Oh my.
I mean, how many times is that now, James? He's going to continue to be a target if his head is down.
Passes on over to Edwards. Here's a short pass to Ott.
Let's go.
The captain delivers.
Give it to 7. Ready?
On the attack along the boards. Broken up with the stick in the defensive end.
Go.
Oh, and some smooth skating to lose it. Something happened in the offensive zone. Oh, a true warrior to block that. Scrum along the wall. And he coughs it up with the pass. Quick pass across to Edwards.
Thank you, sir.
And now he passes up to McNulty. Good heads-up play in the defensive zone. Centering feed.
Let's go.
Finish on the play. Turned aside with a glove by Lehman. Slides the puck over. Here's a short pass to Ott. Sends the feed in front.
Yes.
Dupuis moves it quickly over to Ott. And the goaltender comes up with a piece of it to keep it out of the net.
Lehman's in such great position. He's able to redirect that puck to safety right to the corner.
Looks like there's a delayed penalty. Oh, my! And they score! Got the puck in his own zone.
Yes. Oh, I was going to be able to get back.
Carries it into the offensive end up the middle. Ott's got it along the wing. Scrum ensues along the boards. Takes the puck. Takes it into the slot.
Yes!
Scores, and we take third.
And it's tough to close these types of games out because it's been scratching and clawing by both teams.
Thank you, man.
And here we go.
Detroit's struggling with the puck throughout this game, James. I mean, they've mismanaged
get
the
there
puck.
first.
There's no communication or connection.
It's in the back of the net. He scores!
That's the play.
And here in this third, just a little too much contact and couldn't hang on to the puck. Dropped him in the open ice.
Fucking go.
Pittsburgh's on the attack. And that's blocked away.
Call for it.
Sends a
Press
pass
up.
over.
Multiple lines into the game, and they just kept building momentum, and they're rewarded with that first goal of the game.
To the front. Blocked away by Wagner. Moves it to the middle. Oh, and he comes up with a stop. Scores! Takes
Yes, we
control
are.
of the puck. Slides it to Lee.
All ice.
Williams looks around. 2/3 of the way to the finish line in this one for regulation time. Cheryl, how do you view it?
Detroit's been
Scores! My goodness, it's a night for the ages
I don't care
on
how
his
many
part.
times he
Really
never
is
gets.
And they'll start with possession. Detroit's got trying to shake loose. He's clear. He scores! Oh, that... Otts won the draw and they're on the attack. Here he is on the redirect. It's in. He scores. Takes the pass. Oh, set that hit up perfectly. He's got a step. Scores! There it is. 100. Otts won the face-off, and now let's see what they can do. Rocked on the play. Oh, big-time hit along the wall, and this is why I'm glad I'm up here in a suit, Cheryl.
And I'm ready.
Scores! And the scratching. Quick pass across to Jordan. Intercepted at center by Dupuis. A chance! Sacrifices the body to block that in front. And a strong effort on that play. Perfectly executed.
Oh.
Shot! And that's off target as it hits the body. Quick pass to Ott. Inside the defensive zone, moving the puck. And now he passes up to Edwards. Oh, what a move! They fight for it along the boards. Just all alone!
Yes.
In the neutral zone. Centering pass in front. Oh, and he comes up with a stop. Oh, and he tracks it perfectly in the offensive end. Scores! And they beat the buzzer.
Pedal to the metal.
From the neutral zone now. Moves it around along the half wall. Detroit's got the puck in the corner. Sends it in front. And a new pass. A blast.
Dot, in,
Good. And three is the magic number. There's the hat trick.
And I think there's going to have to be an extra stoppage in play here.
The Red Wings take possession to get this one underway. Shot. He scores.
And
Well,
heat
talk
seeker
about
for the
a
win.
friendly ping right there. Great extension on his part to poke it away. Edwards moves it into the attacking end. Shot!
Yeah, no.
Detroit's ready to go on the attack. Slides the puck over to Jackson. Takes the feed. Detroit's got the puck against the boards. Slides it diagonally.
Disgusting.
They score!
Good
On
work.
the power
Frustration. You can bet if he gets another opportunity, he's one to want to cash in.
What a...
Don't
Here we go. Breakaway. Scores. What a goal. All effort.
Yeah, no.
Can't get it to go. And the puck's knocked loose. And it's a quick pass to Edwards. Takes the pass. The Red Wings played along the boards. Here he is. Wristed on net. Scores. And they...
That and you believe you're back in it. Complete change of the dynamic of the game. Edwards has that shot mentality. He's got
Scores! A long-range shot finds the back of the... On the half wall with the puck. Here he is with the backhander. Long reach breaks up the momentum.
Go, Nick.
All alone.
Filthy.
Scores! And there's the hat trick. Comes up with a piece of it to keep it out of the net.
Wagner's in such great position.
Trying to gain a step. He's in. He scored. Otts gained possession inside the neutral zone. Oh, my. Oh, and comes up with nothing on the play. The Red Wings win the defensive zone faceoff. Detroit's got possession while undermanned. Pass right back. And he sidesteps the check there. They score!
Oh, my own shot.
And a shorty. Soda's got the puck along the wall. Oh, what a hip check on the play. He delivered that perfectly. Loses the coverage there. Dishes it off. He's face off here. Taken by Lee. Takes that pass back at the
Goal.
point.
I love it.
Scores!
Those are my favorite.
Takes possession. Grabs control of it at the point.
I'm coming.
Here's an odd man rush. Centering possession.
Pretty good
The
nonetheless.
slap shot's carried along the
Good
wall.
hit.
Puck exits the zone.
I think I might be stuck.
The pass in front is scored! And they win that draw at center. Blast from the blue line. Oh, and an even bigger save on the slapper. Picked up along the boards by Williams. Centering feed. He scores! Oh, and he takes possession of the puck from off the wing with the centers all locked up there off the draw.
Oh my.
Score!
And he can redirect it to safety.
All alone. Oh, it just kind of muffles that one.
Well, he muffles it because he's in tight, and when you're in tight, you run out of room, and you run out of option as well. You got to find a way to get the puck to the
Good
net.
movement.
And it
Oh, my.
bounces off the glove and it stays out.
There it is. Oh my God.
And the pylon continues, and these home fans. Tender comes up with a piece of it to keep it out of the net. Now a quick pass to Edwards. Breakaway.
That's an absolute dot.
Talk about sweat.
So for those of you that have skipped ahead and waited for some sort of player build, here you go. These are the screenshots there from Season 1 at the end of all the totals of all the games that we played. Again, pretty average across the board. Nothing that I would be too ashamed of, but there was a lot of stuff, especially looking at this. You see that I really needed to have more offense, but on the two-way side, and if you're going to go speed, the way most people do, 92 was a little bit low. I did play against, just recently here, people that have 95 agility, speed, and acceleration. And 92 just got me blown by. 93, where I'm at right now, I think is a good sweet spot. If you have good positioning and good defense, you will be able to cut them off. As soon as you use your poke check a couple of times, you are going to get that stick in the mud animation from NHL 21 where they just blow right by you. So if you're consequential as far as when you use your defensive plays, I think you'll be okay with 93 across the board. It's not one of those situations because, again, it took me about 60 games to kind of find a center build to use. That might sound a little bit lower amount of games in comparison to NHL 10 to 14 before I locked everything down, but you're limited to what you get. And as I said with center, you've got to be able to have the defensive lockdown and still be able to score. So in the second side, when you're looking at it there in between the heat seek, that is what I decided to do. Because your main build is heat seek, quick pick, stick 'em up, those no contest. Those are all defensive things. So if you only get gold heat seek, there you go. That one's done. Your secondary can be close quarters. You know that well. I went with seeing eye as my secondary. That also gives me shot power when the opponent is screened. So if the goalie's screened or if I'm far away or in close, I'm going to get a boost no matter what. I could argue using some sort of tip as the second one instead of seeing eye because I went with the defensive awareness +4. In this game, as I mentioned, you get all of them unlocked at the beginning of the year, so you can immediately try whatever works for you. But that is what I did. You always go +4 on defense because if you take it and starting at 92 with the +4, it starts at 88. But +4 92, put it back to 88. Costs 40 points for every defensive point. That's another 160 in your play style to go back up there to your offensive awareness and passing at 90. That's a playmaker default at two-way forward. That's really good. You use all those other shot boosts, heat seeker, close quarters, and seeing eye, you're only going to have an 82 shot if you want to have 93 speed and excel and 80 balance because 80 balance is kind of the low point. You could go lower to 77. I don't recommend that. You're going to lose the puck all the time. You got balance. You can spin, turn, and shoot. And then on the other side, you just lower your power because you need your puck controls to shoot on the run. That's what your heat seek's for. If you shoot the right shots, I've been able to take this last 6 or 7 games or so since I've changed the build and score about 12 of my goals, and it's really worked for me. So a shooting first two-way forward with all the speed is where I go. But you let me know. Give me all your thoughts and let me know what works for you.